Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Growing Up Alien. I hadn't planned on doing a podcast today, but if I don't this morning, I will forget. So last night, um, so I've been starting to kind of reconnect a little bit with Eka now. I'm like actually getting a signal for some reason like this thing. Um, and last night, like 2, 3 in the morning, I got this like weird feeling because that's usually where he gets his when something pops up because we're all dealing with, different things. And when something pops up, it comes through here. And then, okay, apparently now we're going to work on this. I got that just push. So I just share information. I'm not trying to, I don't, like other people, I don't try to convince you of anything, or I just say, this is what I experienced last night. And that's what Growing Up Alien is all about. It's about people coming together and sharing, hey, I had this experience last night. What do you think? It isn't about any one person coming forward as a guru or a master or whatever and telling people, lecturing them. And I'm actually going to talk about cult in a little just short today because I hope that what I show from this random website, it's not bad because they're all, I didn't want to do an education website because that it's complicated. Just hard hitting, just for people to get some concepts as to what people are watching in these podcasts is a cult. And those are cult leaders. And it's on purpose because the programs, whatever is Monarch, Mockingbird, the news media, all that stuff, those are all programs. And they're all done using a very, very strong understanding of how the brain works and psychology. That is what they use. That is how they work. And it's masterful. So this isn't just about the Terrans on this planet and what they've been through. This is the stuff that's used across other places on ships or on other planets or on asteroids, wherever there's beings that are being oppressed. So I can't stress enough, it's super important for people on this planet to understand that they're not separate from other races. We are all together here in not only this galaxy, but in this whole, many galaxies all locked together in this fight to try to. I don't know if we ever could. Maybe this is part of the universe's plan. I have no idea what's going on. But anyway, we have to just fight. And they are fighting in Ireland. So how far that will go and how far they'll get with that, I don't know. Because I always tell people, look, we need to have a very strong tipping point of the population. I'm going to say at least 60%. And we need the milli, right? The flag wavers. We need them to go AWOL, to back off. We need them to join us. And I think they will at some point, but we have to have enough um, support because this is all psychology. And the military is all psychology. They brainwash people. You're brainwashed when you're a little kid. And Rebecca, another video I did with Rebecca, you could see that all of us, I don't care if you had a great family, everyone, and on other planets as well. It's not all about the Earth, guys, so it's like we're all brainwashed based upon the reward punishment scale. And that is what is exploited by these handlers, by their puppets, by the programs. They know what they're doing. And if you do it to a little kid, which is where it all begins, with the reward punishment, because that when you're little, everything revolves around your survival because you can't survive on your own. And you know this. It's a deep instinct. And humans are herd animals. So herd animals have specific, very strong, hardwired instincts that they need to belong to some kind of group because a herd animal by itself is a dead herd animal. So this is deeply ingrained in people. So especially when you're a child. And I always call schools a Nazi concentration camp where you're indoctrinated. Right, because your parents support the school. How many kids? Yeah, generally, right? I mean, you have to do. They want you to do well. You have to do well in school. That's part of all the fear-based programming. If you don't do well in school, blah blah blah, you'll be homely, whatever. It's all fear, and that's how they run the society: division and fear, division, fear, and mind control. But they get you, your own mind, to do their bidding. Your mind doesn't work for you, it works for them. That's how they do it. It's mind is perfect. But anyway, last night, so I got that feeling welcome to his hymn. I'm like, oh, it's the stuff. And I hear, this is how I work. I don't do healing, by the way. I don't, but with him I do. And so it is like it was like it needs to. He's like it's repressed information. And I said it's repressed information from his abductions and from his experiences in the military. And it's like it needs to be told. It needs to be spoken or written. It needs to be told. But it's not time yet. And it's like it says violation. So essentially, I'm like, okay, I'm working through this. I'm like, what's good? He's not saying anything. Because it's his like the echo, the memory, the information in his body that's speaking. And I'm like, okay, it said it remembered. So it took me back because he doesn't consciously remember because they knock you out, but your body does. And this is the only reason I'm going to share this is because this is what you're going to do with yourself to walk yourself through. And I always say, you don't need somebody else to do this for you. That's super important because you're going to open yourself up to suggestion. Whenever you pay somebody else or ask somebody else to help you with something in your past, in your Akashic records, you are opening yourself up to suggestion because you can never be 100% sure that that information is coming from you. Because it isn't. It's coming from somebody else. Even though you give them the okay to access that information, you can never be sure where it's coming from. So anything that happens to you, you already know about. It's already in your life. It's already in your body. All you have to do is enter the subconscious and access it. So his body was remembering. It was like, and it was angry. But it wasn't even so like angry rage. It was more like just revulsion. Very like noble. It was, the body knew it was noble. It loved itself and knew, but not in that weird way. It was like it was grounded, right? And it was just really put out and just disdain and like I can't believe this is happening. And it's so offensive. This is violation. That's what it was saying. It was like, this is violation. It was like, it was trying to express itself, but no one was hearing. And it was just put out, like it reminds me of this old English woman, just put out, So it showed me the military stuff and it showed me what the Greys had done and taking, is rape basically, which is what is so shocking to me about these people who are working for the, I'm sick and tired. Like I said, that's what Eeka's body was saying. I need to speak, right? And I'm going to say it. All of the people who are working for the programs, and that's most of them, the mentioning of the hybrid programs, which is GovMill sponsored. I have to make up my own words here because GovMill sponsored rape, abduction of other races, and abduction of the citizens on this planet to be used in breeding programs. And if that doesn't blow your mind, that's Nazi. That's Nazi concentration camp. And it is, because that's where it's the same group, same method. And anyone talking about that and not being horrified about that and not at least mentioning the fact that this is outrageous. And we're seeing this. The revelation, and it's done on purpose. It's to desensitize people to horror. And they've been doing that with horror movies and violence and all that kind of stuff, video games. They've been doing that for a while to desensitize the public to this stuff, where they just become apathetic to it. So they're instead of being shocked by it, they become apathetic. And it's not that they're condoning it, or they just don't know what to do, because I think what happens in their brain is they have a default where usually where they've seen violence before is in a movie, so it's fiction, so it's not real. And they're, again, desensitized to it where it's not an issue. So that's actually what they're doing. And everybody thinks the Epstein files being released is all about justice. It isn't. It's about desensitization. And that's why that channel that Rebecca was just on has 6 million subscribers, because it deals with a lot of that sexual trafficking, violence, and all yada yada, all the dark realms, because it's for desensitization. So the more you watch it, the more you become desensitized. That's why they're doing it. But we're using those things. So it's all we have is to use those things to get the word out. But at the same time, as we're getting the word out, they're also controlling the narrative and they're making sure that it's used in a form that will desensitize the public to this stuff. And that's what's happening. Um, so Ika's body was like, I need to, and that's why he feels this. It's like a weird, it's almost like you have to throw up, but you don't really have to throw up feeling, and it comes up through here. And it's like just really, and it said, I need to say this. I need to voice it. I need to speak, but not yet. I'm like, okay. And it's like, but I don't want to go away. I'm like, okay, I understand that. They're like, it doesn't want to go away. This needs to be brought out, but it's afraid it's going to be quieted. It's going to go away. And it says, I fear I'm going to be digested. And so I'm like, oh, okay. That makes sense. Like that's not, I said, it's not going to happen. That's not, he's actually been, he's had nausea. So it's basically what his body's trying to do is like at the same time, get rid of this, but you can't physically get rid of this because it's energy, it's in a memories thing. And that's what I told, I said, you're not going to go. And I mean, he's not, and that's why he's been having issues with eating because he's just not hungry because it's like, oh no, I don't want to get digested. I'm like, you're not going to get. So I told the body, I'm like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to, you're not going to hop onto some food and leave, right? So hopefully that mitigated some of the issues he's been going through recently in the past weeks with being able to eat and not wanting to eat and having these, and I've been getting them too because sometimes we'll share that and I'll get the sensations of being like full, or like you drank too much coffee and it's just like, ugh, and it's that. So it came through last night and it voiced itself. It voiced its fears. I said, don't worry about that. It's not going to happen. So when the time comes and he is ready and you, the body, when you are ready as well, his body, to finally voice this, it will be voiced. Nothing will get in the way of it being messaged, for wherever it has to go, for whatever has to happen with that messaging. So that's what he's been going through. I suspect by the number of people that have been contacting me who have been experiencing the frequency attacks, that this is a frequency attack, that they've been targeting us, those who they test some of these things on. So it's something like Havana syndrome, where they're using a frequency, they're beaming it to you. And for me, I can feel it come on. I can feel it slowly get strong. I think so it looks like how they do it is they build it. Maybe they'd kill you or whatever if they came on too strong with it. So it builds and you can feel it. Build, 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 build. I'll notice it specifically if I'm doing really well, if I'm feeling really well physically and, mentally, and like I have a lot of energy, that I'm like, I know I'm like, oh, okay, they're going to hit, they do. Usually within a few days after that, boom, because they don't want us doing what we're doing. So when you're activated, when you feel good and you can actually do stuff, they got to shut that down. That's when I notice the slow, I can start to feel it. I can start to feel this thing sweep across and then it locks. And yesterday morning, I started to feel, well, actually it was Friday night, started to lift a little bit. They lift slowly too. Starts to lift, starts to lift, starts to lift, and now it's gone. And it's that weird dissociation, can't feel state. It's kind of a numb state. It just lifts slowly. So it's likely, because of some people I've been talking to, that this has actually been a frequency attack that they were using. And what's key about this is that you can't get out of that. You can't raise your, and that's actually, I mean, I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to talk about cult today, but the New Age movement, raise your vibration, all that stuff, all of these tips and tricks that these people are giving you, little frequencies to play, stuff like that does not work. If you're walking down the road and they shoot you with a dart, you're going down. You can't be like, oh, I'm just going to love and light my way out of it. I'm going to connect with my higher self. All this bull. And I'm going to tell folks, and a lot of, you know what? I'm going to have Nate coming on here and we're going to let it rip. So you may love all that love and light shit. You may love the ascension. You may love, and that's cult. That's a cult. So this channel may no longer be in your best interest because we're here to break people out of the cult. I'm saying that right now. Disclosure is a cult. Those podcasters are a cult. Not all of them are in a cult. Some of them who have lower numbers are simply probably ego lords. But there's legit people out there. And Louise always said, follow the little old lady in in Kentucky somewhere with 50 subscribers or 10 subscribers. She's the real deal because they will never let anyone start to raise their numbers too far without interception. And that's against something I voiced as a concern. I'm like, I got to watch this because I'm getting really close to where they're not going to want this. So right now is the time for us to come forward and start exposing this shit. So New Age is New Age. And I'm not New Age. You are New Age. If you're pushing on people the bullshit that they are magical beings that can use their powers to levitate and blah blah blah, right? That's New Age. That's them. That's the cult. And a lot of people won't be able to get out of that. So we will continue to expose them and their bullshit. And that's where I'm going to be going from now on. And it's certainly going to attract attention from them because they're bullshit. This morning, I just got a few other things that kind of came through I don't need a higher self. That's I don't need this is what and this is all the belief system, it's all religion. All this bullshit they're feeding you is nothing. It's airy fairy, it's coming out of nowhere. It's just what resonates with you personally and what experiences that you're having and sharing those experiences. So not being afraid to share, which is what they do. If you notice, it's all about the person and their channel and what they're talking about. It's all about them. They always dismiss, they never highlight, they never talk about other people and other people's experiences. It's all about the same shit. It's all about who they are, what they're getting for visions. Oh, my vision last night, I was shown this, I was shown that. But it's not done the way that it's not a sharing. It's a lecturing, like a news channel. Today on my visions, I want you to follow everybody, and they have all their followers, which is a cult, who agree with them. Oh, thank you for sharing your visions with us. Now I know. Like, what? Someone's vision is simply that. It's a piece. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what it is. I don't know where to go with it. It's not information. It is information, but it's not something that you should be following or listening to. Somebody was just talking the other day about teleporting. That teleporting was astral. Teleporting is not fucking astral. Astral is astral. Teleporting is physical. You got a bunch of fucking weirdos out there now. I'm an astral king. I'm in the astral. I know how to control the astral. You don't fucking know how to control. No, that's such a man thing. That's such a mansplain word salad bullshit. You cannot control the astral. All you can do is control yourself and explore with your consciousness the quantum fields. That's it. Teleportation requires a device, and it is a physical movement of material or beings. It is not astral. If you're leaving your body behind and going somewhere with just your consciousness, that's astral. Teleportation is a device. Howard Menger was given information about teleportation from his contacts. And they were saying, geez, Howard, I'm surprised you guys can't teleport because your television systems actually operate on a similar structure, engineering, as actual teleportation. Then you go into Stefano Brescia and amicizia and also mass contacts. And he describes how the vegetables and fruits that were delivered to the W-56s in the Pescara base were teleported out of the truck. Physical vegetables and fruit were teleported back into the base. It is a physical thing so it requires a start point, and that could be either the base or the truck where the fruits are. and an end destination point, which in this case, so the start point is the truck, and the end destination is the Pescara base. That's teleportation. You can teleport goods and you can teleport beings. It's physical, not astral. People need to fucking get a life. But it's all ego. It's all ego. I'm sick of it. And I'm gonna say Nathan's coming on here and we're fucking sick of the bullshit. We're sick of these celebrity whores. Frankly. So, this came to me this morning from me, not from some magical ETs, not from anywhere. It says, who will you follow when the masks fall? When you see that the ones you gave your soul to were empty puppets, deflating before your eyes. When you see that, the ones wearing the uniforms of the enemy are the enemy. Noshkin akashin siskano ashin na akeres. You have been asleep. Drugged by chimeras that shifted your reality. Ro akashin nukan chimera is ungashkena. We don't have a word for chimera. That's right. Chimera. You were never meant to erase your power by giving your hand for the snake to bite. Snake is no chain is stronger than the one you let them place around your mind. Skona is skona chain or nis tuk hashkona skis in a roll nas. They use addiction as a control. Or an addiction. You are lured as the moth to the flame. Tushkan is sinignora is kun is kishkan vaske ogareskene. Your strongest desires, your hidden needs are answered. Intent, an intense feeding on hope, which is fake, right? And surety. So basically they feed you hope and surety and you drink from it. You drink the poison. Skork ak ik iskoneski nos iska nila iskuf inasen tosk ane ikshin rednesse poison. So I'm actually going to share a screen here to illustrate, just as for shits and giggles, not giggles and shits. That's bad. Share. Now I hope I'm not in the corner, but I might be. I'm trying to fix this thing. This Zoom, it does what I don't want it to do. So this is just some random website. Like I said, I didn't want to use one that was from education. So you can do your own Google Scholar search if you really want to deep dive into the psychology behind this, because cults operate from psychological manipulation, right? They are controlling your brain. And that's what MK Ultra and all those programs do. They program, and that's what a lot of people do. You have to be really careful about that. That's why it's so important that you learn about yourself, not from somebody else who tells you you're a king or a god or whatever the fuck you. That's MK Ultra. Uh, so here it is. It's called Awareness Month. So so I wanted to take some time to write about and share this psychotherapist here. What I've learned about what a cult or high control group looks like and how to recover from the impacts of being in a cult. And that's also what you're going to be saying. It's going to be very hard. And a lot of people might be going through purging right now. So and allow that to happen. You need to walk away. You need to walk the fuck away from these cults. I mean, a lot of people, no one's going to be able to help you because you can't do it because you want to believe in something like this. And they've bitten you. I was like, and that's what came this morning was it's a snake. It's poison from a snake. And if you allow the snake to bite you and insert poison, the poison's there. And it's going to be quite a ride for you to detox from the venom. And for some people, it's easier than others. And they'll twist it, they'll attack me. They'll attack other people who are trying to help them. You want all the fame for they'll get into some weird, dysfunctional, narcissistic gaslighting rant. And we don't give a shit. We don't give a shit because the only person you're going to fuck with is you. You've already been mind fucked. You want to be mind fucked. They'll mind fuck you. There's plenty of people out there that will do that for you. And good luck. That's part of the journey, right? Like I said, I'm only going to try to throw raps for people who want to free themselves from this shit. And it's not easy to, and we've all been taken, I was initially gullible for a lot of this shit. I feel for the new age fucked initially. And I'm like, this doesn't feel right. And you give people money to heal you. And the programs just throw the shit right back on top of you. And you're like, wait a minute, I'm not fixed. I'm still getting fucked. And again, this is why, and hopefully we'll have Louise on next week. This is why I like Louise, because she's like, and this is why I like Rebecca and I like Louise. I trust them because they don't act like some kind of queen or princess. They don't say, they help people. They both help people. But they go through they're in it with us, they're not removed from us. And I think that's what bothers me with a lot of these healers. It's like they're like, oh, I'm a healer, shaman. And it's like, that's great. But it's like, but they're like, I feel a wall there. There's like, they're not fully with us. They're above us in a way. And that's a turnoff for me. And Rebecca and Louise are both healers, and they're both, and Louise is a shaman, but they're with us. They're in the fight with us, if that makes sense, right? That's what I look for. So when we think of a cult, so most people would probably say that they can spot a cult from a mile away. As a mental health professional, I can say that this is not true. No one intentionally joins a cult. Exactly. People assume that a person must lack intelligence or be gullible. No. These guys they're using mind control. They're using very complicated, particularly if they're now being handled, if they're tools of mind control. Actually, I'm so glad because Nate just found a great video and I shared it on Facebook of the guy who does the Bashar. And it's like, you really think he's telling you that? And he does. I mean, a lot of what they're saying is good. They will always share with you the truth. 80% or whatever percentage they're mixing with is the truth. They're telling you what they're doing, or they're giving you really good information. That's how they operate. It's in order to it's engineering consent. So this Bashar figure, whoever the hell that is, it's CIA, obviously, or some kind of, it could be an ET. I sense it might be. And there are a lot of regressive ETs, and this when it gets really dangerous because those guys are good. I suspect he is talking to an ET, but it's not a benevolent one. So this Bashar thing, when you go back to 2020 and the COVID, Bashar was, and there's a video of it, the guy telling you right out, admitting the vaxi-waxy was safe. And this guy was talking to him. He says, how can I detox from the vaxi-waxy? And Bashar says, what do you mean? And he says, how can I detox my body from the vaxi-waxy? And Bashar says, oh, I don't know what you mean because there's nothing there. It's fine. There's no poison there. It's perfectly fine. That was a good thing. You needed to get the vaxi-waxy. This is 2020. Not only did he say that you needed to like distance and hide and wear the mask and all that shit. But that the vaxi waxy that we now know is not okay, that mRNA is perfectly fine. He was saying it's all perfect. It's all perfect. There's nothing there. There's no poison there. It's perfectly fine. So I shared that on Facebook. Out of the mouth directly of this Bashar ET. He's not benevolent. So if you're listening to anybody else's ET, particularly if they're not a humanoid, and there's some nasty humanoids because you don't know if what the person is visiting with, and this is when you got to do your own soul search. And you need to question every single time any ET you're in contact with. And any ET, and I learned this, that other people are in contact with, because I was taken down and deluded by somebody else's ET, because it's so easy. It's so easy. And ETs are deluded and taken down by other ETs. It's just the way it is, you know. So going back to this, no one intentionally joins the cult. Yeah, it's not your, and that's the thing. People get into all that self-blame and, oh, I'm too smart to be in a cult. All right, well, good luck to you. Anyone who says that, I'm too smart to be in a cult, they're going to be in a cult because they're too fucking dumb. Like anyone who claims that they know shit, you don't know shit. When you're dealing with extraterrestrial stuff, you don't know shit. People assume that a person must lack intelligence or be gullible, right? This is also not true. Cults often target smart and successful people. Oh, hands down. Particularly the one that we're in. Because we're in a war. And the enemy is very powerful. And they want to make sure that the strongest amongst us, and I don't mean that in an ego way. You got to get rid of fucking ego. You got to get rid of all that mansplaining shit. They want to take down and that's just common sense in a war. You want to take out the strongest parts of your enemy. You want to weaken your enemy. That's just common sense. So I wanted to write about what I've learned by working with people leaving cults or high control situations, and what I've gleaned from experts in the field who have an in-depth understanding of how easy it can be to get into a cult and how hard it can be to leave one. Cults can look like many things which people often do not associate with the word cult. Cults can be any of the following: political groups, self-help groups, online groups, family groups, corporations, activists. Oh, that's actually what first got me into this, because I was involved with animal rights for a long time, and activist groups. I will say almost all of your activist groups are cults. They operate on a cult. And I started to realize, I'm like, the people in these animal rights groups aren't here for the animals. They're here for being a freak show. They had all these, and that's the thing, they have all these code words and lingo and stuff that they would use, and they would have these little gatherings and groups of all the pink-haired nose ring. I'm thinking, if you want to have pink hair and a nose ring, I don't have a problem with that. But the reason that they were doing it isn't because they wanted to have pink hair. So there's a big difference. It's because there was something wrong with them. But they were attention seeking. They had an issue inside. And they were joining cults, which in this group was an activist group of animal rights. So anytime you're in, again, activist groups, once they get big, are taken over by the controllers. You know this, preach to the choir. Multi-level marketing groups, right? Large group awareness trainings, groups for personal growth, spiritual groups, religious organizations. Well, all religions are, I mean, that goes without saying. Basically, any group with people, both in person and online, can become or get culty, as they say here. 100%. You see this all the time. Like, you'll know they're cults because if you just pull up something that's got a lot of followers, and people keep beating up Elena Danaan. She's not the only one. What I think they're doing with her is pulling her forward, and everybody's falling for the cult that hates Elena Danaan. So there's a new cult now. It's the cult of people who want to seem smart and see, I'm so smart. Oh, I didn't fall for Elena in the first place. Or, oh, I used to follow Elena, now I don't. So now you're in that cult. That's a cult. If you don't like Elena Danaan and what she's doing, walk away. Why do you need to join some kind of cult in order to be part of a new cult? People are leaving cults to join cults. Since it's Oh my God. Anyway, how do people get involved in cults? It's very slippery. It's very smooth. Cults appeal to a person's unmet needs, their altruistic nature, or a desire to do good in the world. And they can also appeal to ego. I'm too smart. So I belong to the anti-vax club because I was too smart. They didn't, ha ha ha, they didn't get me. The fact that you think you're too smart, they're going to get you. You can't, I mean, it's amazing. If you go around thinking you're too smart, thinking you're clever, they're going to get you. So there is a basic human drive for belonging, and I mentioned that already. It's a survival technique in a herd animal and connection with others. And we're always fed that. You need to connect. You need to have a social group. No, you don't. No, you don't. You may need to have close friends, which is nice, as long as you have a mutual love-based, and there is such things as that. There is love. Love feels great. It's wonderful. But everything has been perverted, right? So frequently when someone joins a group, they may be feeling isolated. That's what they did. That's the whole manipulation technique here by the DS. Create, using tech, using the internet, using different things, the way society is run, so they slowly pull people away from a natural family setting. Or they created a train wreck dysfunction of a family setting in order to make a family either redundant or a place you need to get away from because your family is so fucked up. Being around them is toxic. So here you are now alone. This was all done. This was all the fracturing. This was done on purpose. So once we move away from all that love and feel into analysis, you don't throw away love and feel, but you don't throw away the little gray cells either. And that's what people are doing. They're not thinking anymore. They're not reasoning anymore. They're reacting, and that's what they wanted. So you have a global situation of serious dysfunction, of isolation, of suffering, of struggle, of, here's you go on, disconnected from others, or the experiencing some kind of loss. When encountering a group that is seeking members, a person may be love bombed, which is when they are showered with love, admiration, connection, acceptance, nurturing, validation, or belonging in a way they may have never felt before. So people who are coming to terms with who they are, coming to terms with, hey, I'm not from this planet, coming to terms with what we're talking about, which is that we're not alone, and they don't know who to talk to, because I hear this all the time. I don't know who to talk to. I have no one to talk to. That opens you up to a cult. You're the person they're looking for. And they're going to suck you in. So cults find what a person is missing or simply seeking. So what they're doing now is creating a loosh with this roller coaster of disclosure. Now, if you go back to Dr. Sala's work within the past, 3, 4, 5 years, he's saying the same thing he's been saying for 3 or 4 years. And nothing is changing. He hasn't changed his story. 2023 was supposed to be disclosure, and he predicted it. If you go back to some of the podcasts he was doing and all the members around Alex Collier, they were predicting 2023. This is it. This is the year. Alex Collier in a video said the med beds are coming out in the fall of 2023. Yeah. We're on the knife's edge, Alex Collier. We're on the knife's edge. It's a knife's edge. The white hats are almost there. Gene decode. The DUMBs are, that was last year. The DUMBs are 90% cleared. Wow. Took a long time to clear the other 10%. And this year they're 90% cleared, but they're working on it. No, they're not. They are. This is the lie the cults feed you. They feed you that hopium. They stand before you as an expert or as a guru or as a very likable person. Oh, I'm such a simple, likable person. That's what they'll do. They create a draw using a figure. Or, I'm a physicist. Oh, I've done research on this. I'm a blah, blah, they'll use, not that that doesn't have weight, but they'll use this and they'll slip in. Usually the Italians had a word for this. Being snowed, the Italians would say, oh, they put you to sleep. I remember the Italians, oh, you're being put to sleep. So the idea that JP was in the military and showing his military card, yeah, we know JP was in the military. We're not questioning the fact that JP is in the military. What we're telling you from JP's own testimony is that he's in the SSP. We're not questioning what he's been doing. We're not questioning. We don't need to see certification that he's in the military. That just says to us that he was in the military. Okay, that has got nothing to do with reality because we're all screaming for his own safety. He was an SSP and he's working for the SSP. And those are fake Nordics. Those are, as Andy always calls them, Fordics. Those are fake Nordics. Are there real Nordics working in the military? Yes. Are there Draco? Are there reptilians? Are there Greys working in the Mitra? Are they working in the military? Yes. Go back to Bill Tompkins. Anyway, moving on. Just kind of paralleling what these people are doing using concepts of cult. How do I know if the group I am in is a cult? Well, you should be able to feel it. That's me. So Dr. Stephen Hesson, a cult recovery expert and former cult member. And there's nothing like being in a cult yourself, as most of us have been in them. And we're now free. And I feel bad. I'm going to say, Dan Winter, Dan, dude, you need to wake up. You need to stop following the she shit. You're too smart. And I'm not doing that to blow up your ego. But Dan, you understand the physics. You get it. You don't need to listen to ET shit. You don't need the ET shit. Dr. Sal Pais always says that. You don't need ETs. We did it ourselves. Do it yourself. You don't need that shit. You don't need to get that. I'm saying that's yeah. Anyway, but you have to learn. And that poor guy, he's been burned with Elena already. You would think he would know that anybody coming forward to you talking ET bullshit is bullshit. Okay. I don't care how cute they are, how innocent they are. A lot of them don't understand that they're being controlled. They don't understand it. Anyway, you do you, right? So he calls it the bite model that Dr. Hassan created. Looks at how a group can attempt to have control over our lives. So behavior control. A cult will dictate how you are allowed to behave, right? They do that all the time. Oh, you can't feel angry. You can't feel hate. You can't feel sad because the DS loves that. You're not supposed to have, you can only have certain emotions. That's the Greys, you fucking moron. The Greys fucked with themselves so that they would only have an analytical process. They didn't want emotions. So anyone who tells you that you can't have this or that emotion is a cult leader. And likely they're in a cult themselves. If you're only allowed and fear threatened to feel or think certain things, cult. All right. It is common for cults to have strict rules regarding sex, food, finances, sleep, appearance, decisions, whatever, and how your time is spent and when you spend it and who you spend it with. If you don't behave the way the leader of the group dictates, there are consequences or punishments. Or you're made to feel like shit, or you're made to feel guilty. Oh, you felt bad. You were feeding the loosh. No, fuck you. Fuck you. I felt bad because I'm a human and I have emotions and my brain processes through chemicals and through electrical signals using my consciousness, emotions. And those emotions are all over the place. And they should be. That's normal. If all you feel is love and blah and bliss, there's something wrong with you. That's not normal. And you're going to crash one day. But that, hey, you do you, right? Information control. What information is acceptable to consume or be exposed to is controlled by the group. Deception, and that's what I was saying, right? They don't share stories, they dictate to you. I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't care. Oh, I have a goal right now to further a particular mission, and you can join it or leave. You don't have to join. I don't force anybody anything. You need to find your own place. Um, that's it. Like I said, I don't give a shit. I don't dictate to people. I'm just sharing stuff here, sharing information. You take it or leave it. So what information is acceptable to consume or be exposed to is controlled by the group or the person. Deception is used from the start when a person is not told what they are getting into initially. Information from any outside source or anything that now challenges the group's doctrines or beliefs are restricted or forbidden. Propaganda or only cult-related sources of information are allowed. And of course, those folks who were really involved in Elena, they noticed that this was what was happening and that they were attacked or thrown out of the group when they voiced a certain opinion, which was cult. And again, you have to balance that because it's like you can't let everything in either, right? When you're being, because there's proselytizing, right? There's that. It's a type of patronizing that the love and light community do. And they just babble. They're like, to me, they feel like a recording. Blah, 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 blah. They like regurgitate stuff. And it's like, yeah. I mean, it's like, it's a religion, right? It's like people in religion saying prayers and regurgitating that kind of stuff. So all of this stuff has to be handled using analysis. So thought control. Cults work to change the way a person thinks about themselves and the world. They establish that only a certain way of thinking is permissible, and anything outside that is wrong, evil, harmful, sinful, and they'll gaslight you too. They'll gaslight you and be like, "Oh, remember that differences are beautiful." Meanwhile, they'll attack, they're messing with your head because it's a type of gaslighting. And it's a type of dichotomy where what they say and do can be different from what they say and do. So I think we remember like our parents, like, or even school or anybody, any authority figure tells you to behave a certain way, but they don't follow the same rules, like the legal system, right? You have to follow the law, but they don't. They make up their own law. I saw it. I was a victim of it. I was a victim of fake law in a legal system. It's gaslighting. And your brain it creates dichotomy. Your brain can't process it. So that's the thought control or the gaslighting that you might see in these situations. So questions, analysis, critical thinking, or constructive criticism are not allowed. Try that. And I do it all. I've been doing it more and more now, where I'll offer something like that in a comment somewhere and see what but I've noticed now that more people are doing this. More people are starting to question. Oh, last night when I had this vision and the white hats were sweeping into the Hormuz, or whatever, some bullshit. People are like, what? That what? Where? What? People are really starting to break that shit down and be like, okay, that's great. What does that mean? Oh, and I was on a ship last night. Okay, where's your proof? You know, if you're going to feed me some kind of indoctrination because you were on some kind of ship last night, where's the proof to that? Now, if you're just sharing the fact that you went on a ship last night, that's one thing. That's not cult. Hey, I think I was on a ship last night, or hey, I got taken up last night, or hey, I had that experience. Wow. That's just sharing information. There's sharing information and there's thought control. And there's two different things because when you're sharing information, it's like saying you like bananas. I mean, that's great. You like bananas. There's not, somebody likes cauliflower, somebody likes broccoli. That's fine. It's not like, no, you have to like broccoli. That's a cult. When the broccoli people attack the cauliflower people, instead of being like, and they prevent the cauliflower people from sharing their recipes, that's when you're in trouble. So no one wants to prevent anyone from speaking their truth or speaking whatever thing, even if it's a cult. If you're a cult puppeteer, whatever, that's fine. I don't want that to stop. I personally, I don't want any of that stuff to stop. I don't care how fucking crazy it is. You can be a pink, purple fairy tale queen, king, whatever. All love and light. I don't have a problem with that. Do it. Do it. You can charge people $1,000 to have their DNA upgraded. You can charge people $5,000 to go on a retreat with you to Hawaii. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I'm not trying to stop that. But they're often trying to stop us. And of course, the deep state is. They don't want us. So it's not about stopping people like that at all, because that's free speech. But that's what they're trying to do, right? That's what the deep state is trying to do. That's what the controllers are trying to do. They're trying to stop you. They're trying to control what information gets out there. They're trying to manipulate concepts like safety and national security to suppress you. So national security is simply a tool to lock you down, because there's no such thing as nations. This is the globe that is run by a cabal. And the nations are fake. The nations are actors. They're actually stage sets. Each nation on this planet is a stage set. Each government is an actor playing out a theatrical performance created by the cabal for a particular cabal agenda. There you go, right? So emotional control. Cults use emotion by manipulating rational and irrational fears. They threaten terrible consequences, such as being rejected or isolated permanently, punishments such as death, disease, or insanity. Guilt is used to deem anything outside of what the cult finds permissible as punishable, sinful, weak, not spiritual enough, etc. There is never a reasonable amount of doubt allowed. Emotions are limited to a narrow spectrum, and anything outside that spectrum is wrong, harmful, or means that you are not implementing the group's mandates, rules, rituals, teachings correctly. So if you look at something like the emotional control, that's how all of the societies are run here. That is the mind control that is imprinted and burned into the minds of children. This is part of the mind control we've all been subjected to. Disclosure or no disclosure. One rule of thumb for asking if you are in a cult-like environment is asking yourself, what happens if you ask a question? That's what you need to do, right? What happens if you, that's actually what I've been doing. So what if you have a doubt or feel a different feeling? If the answer is punishment, being ostracized, kicked out, threatened, or shunned, or you're a bad person. JP's been doing that recently. Oh, all these people who don't. It's not that we don't like you. We're not. It's not that we don't like that's gaslighting and that's red herring. It's not that we don't like you. None of us said. I mean, I'm sure some people don't. No one likes everybody, but I don't have a problem with you. But when you are lying to yourself about love and light and that you want to just vibrate in this love frequency and oh my God, and anybody who's not in the love, so someone who is questioning, because we've been in the programs and we know what they're doing and we're trying to say, hey, buddy, do you think? And you come back with, oh, you're a hater. That's not a hater. That's not a hater. A hater is somebody that calls you an asshole or something like that. A hater is somebody just, oh, he's a crazy guy. That's a hater, right? That's a hater. But when someone comes forward and says, dude, I have a concern, I've been in those programs. I know what they do. And what do you think? So they're basically saying, what do you think? That's not a hater. That's a helper. And you can say, I'm okay with this. Okay, that's fine. Other warning signs you're in a cult. A group or leader has the only answer to your problem. Any other way of doing things is wrong, bad, or evil. All your problems can be addressed by following what it instructed. Like, here comes disclosure. Oh boy, the ETs aren't coming to save you, but here comes disclosure. Okay. So the bad guys are going to vary, whatever. It's like the person leading the group has no credentials. Not that that matters. In our arena, it can be a little, and because someone could be anybody, and that's the part of the problem here is that someone's credentials have got zero credibility. I mean, it's got meaningless for being a contactee. Anyone can be a contactee. A 5-year-old can be a contactee. A 90-year-old can be a contactee. A plumber can be a contactee. A homeless person can be a contactee. A school teacher, right? Let's go, a mailman, whatever, can be contactees. 100% legit. What you do for a living has got nothing. In fact, what you do for a living can be counter any credentialing. So if you're in the military, if you're a police officer, if you're in the government, if you've been in the intelligence agencies, in my opinion, you're less credible Why? Because you're in a position where you are likely, because of who you work for, not because of who you are as a person, you're more likely, if you're in the military, if you're in the intelligence agencies, to be under their control because it's in their interest to control you because they don't want you running around spilling the beans. And that's why when you see someone that comes forward who was in those array in the think tanks, they're usually in a car accident, they're usually threatened. They're the ones that are taken, and they'll say, like, hey, there was one guy I just was reading about, and he was coming forward with some of this stuff, and he got in two car accidents, and the men in black and the bad guys were right there. And they took, and the second car accident he was in, they came to his hospital bed and they said, the next one, we're going to finish the job. So that's what you have to. Now, I'm not saying that everyone in the military and everyone who's a police officer is mind controlled by the dark ops. No. But there's more concern there simply because they are, by default, the work that they do, a real risk to the bad guys. That's what I'm saying. So again, everything has to be. So this idea that there's certain, and this is also part of the brainwashing of our society, that there are certain members of our society that are worth more. No, I never understood that. I remember being a kid, and, little kids would be shot and people would be murdered and you'd make the news. But if a cop was murdered, oh, a cop was murdered. I'm thinking, I don't know about you, but a 5-year-old or a baby being murdered resonates more deeply than a police officer. Not that he should be murdered. No one should be killing anybody. But I don't know. I just value children because they're innocent. Anyway, that's me. But that's I'm not giving anybody any kind of, that's how my brain works. But anyway. So I'll put the link to this. It's just a random website. But so you need to leave all other ways of thinking, believing, behaving behind and isolate yourself from others outside the group. The person has some kind of experience that now makes them an expert, again, without any credentials. And we're saying that. For example, I've experienced trauma, so I know how to fix everyone's trauma. Well, yeah, no. Well, not, no, we've been saying that's, yeah. No one, so I think only you can fix your trauma, ultimately. And that's what Eeka's body was talking about. I learned something from that, last night from the experience. This is interesting, But anyway, I have years of trauma training and practice, and I would never make that kind of a claim. Yeah, that's the thing. Blaming the trauma victim. That's a big thing. The love and light community. Love. If you can't fix your trauma, oh, I did. No, you didn't. You deluded yourself. You're now in another, you've replaced likely your trauma with a cult. But this is stuff you have to look at yourself and say, did I replace my trauma with a cult? Maybe you didn't. Maybe you're healed. That's great. I hope so. I hope you're healed. But you don't know. You have to look with it. This is a personal thing. In putting any kind of loose shame, oh, as long as you're holding your trauma, you're feeding the loose, you're an asshole. You're an asshole. That's all. People like that are assholes. And a lot of that is just a reflection on shit they're dealing with. And more power to them. Deal with your shit. Do your thing. So there is a one-size-fits-all solution for absolutely everyone. Right. Yeah. So and it goes on, what do I do if I realize that I'm in a cult? That, to me, I think that's a personal decision that you have to make yourself. And I'm not going to, it was really hard for me, and I'm still dealing with, and I just mentioned, because there was Rebecca that brought this up, because I used to, I was on these roller coasters and she's like, wow, you're like, yeah. But she clarified the fact that, these massive mood swings and deep dives into the shithole depression that I was going through, she was like, that's because you just had another revelation. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, wow. And then immediately I was like, oh yeah, the ETs betrayed us. The ETs left us to die here. And that's what I was dealing with. That the ETs that I had signed up to work with had left me to die here. That now viewed me as an animal or some kind of less than, some broken piece of shit that they no longer wanted because they were afraid of what I was going to do when I came back up there. Because I knew what they did. So it was like being in a mafia, So instead of them, instead of them holding the karma of killing me, They would just let the deep state do it. And I was pissed. I was pissed. I'm still pissed. I am still pissed. Right. So the ETs aren't gods to me. They're assholes. Assholes. So anyway, that's what I learned in that deep dive. So thing is to do if you're in a shit box place right now, what? Why? Who fucked you? Right? That's really what it is. Who fucked with you? And it's a combination of the frequencies they throw on you, but also part of that is like you got, somebody screwed you. Who is it? Right? Who maybe do you need to cut out of your life? All these different things, right? So I know I'm in a cult. Now what? Get the fuck out, right? So anyway, that's enough of that. I'll put the link in there for folks who are interested in going back over it or what have you. But like I said, take everything I say with a grain of salt. You do you. If being in a cult gets you through your life, do it. I mean, we're all here for different, everybody does their own thing, right? Everybody does their own thing. But ultimately, like I said, we're going to be going and this is, I think, part of that. I'm like, you know what? That week where I was getting frequency attacked, that was actually here for a purpose to show that a lot of this channel is going to go in a new direction. And a lot of it is me and my friends realizing that, yeah, we got taken for a ride. And I'm not saying that my experiences were fake. I have had interceptions for sure. And I'm not saying that Eeka's fake. At this point in time, he hasn't shown any signs of being a bad player. But are they creating a perfect? And I don't want, and I feel like, and what I usually feel with that is like, but I say he needs to hear me say this. And because it's got nothing to do with our relationship, and that's private, nevertheless. And I never wanted to do this because our relationship was private. And he didn't want to do this because our relationship was private. But I think there was a war between the alliance, the benevolent, I'll just call them the resistance. The ETs don't use terms so much, so like there's the alliance, the resistance, and then there's the Sith. And both sides wanted this channel out there. And they're fighting each other for what kind of information was going to get rolled out. And then they used Eeka at that point. When we decided to do this, because I kind of got forced into it by the alliance, you got to do this. I'm like, all right, here, we're going to set your life up perfect so that you just do this. I'm like, okay, I can't say no. They knew guilt me. That's guilting is great. But then at the same time, the Sith was like, oh, well, we're going to take Eeka, we're going to torture him, and we're going to make him, and we're going to tell him that they're going to torture me and kill me and do all these things to me if he doesn't do what they want. So he was working the same. I mean, this is what Bill Tompkins explains this. And also mass contacts and all of your old timers, Howard Menger, Bob Renault. I can't stress Bob Renault enough. It's like this. It's like a chess game between the good and bad of many different races here. So they took Eeka, and he was working for the good guys. He did rescue in the dumps. He did fight in the dumps. He did fight the bad guys. It did happen. But at the same time, the bad guys would slip in because it's mixed. It's compartmentalized. The government, and that's brilliant. This whole system is compartmentalized. Was it they always saying the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing? That's how they do it. So there would be times where he would be taken out and he didn't know because he was a commander and he would have to meet with officers and they would discuss. And when he signed to come down here as a mercenary, in the small print said, we're not coming to save you. So whatever happens to you down here, happens to you down here. We will not intervene. But he signed that because he wanted to be down here. So they would take him out for meetings he didn't know. And some of those meetings were with the Sith. And then they would torture him. And they would say to him, you need to say this. You need to come forward and say this. The next time, you need to tell her, because he would come to me. He'd be like, we need to do a podcast. We need to do a podcast. I'm like, all right. I'm like, I'm busy. I'm right back. We need to do a podcast. I'm like, okay, all right. But he felt like we need to do this. And it was a cold side of him that I never he never had, and it was fear. And I'm like, all right, okay, I drop everything and we do a podcast. And he was controlled. And he didn't have a choice because and he couldn't tell me he was controlled because I'm like, if anything, I think, he was in more danger than I was. And yeah, they definitely killed and raped ETs that were working in the White Hat factions. So this is some of the information I think is really important for people to understand. And I don't want, like, I'm not feeding it to you, but just ask your contacts what it was like. Because there were other ETs that came forward and said, yeah, I was tortured too. And it's really hard to have things. I mean, he was tortured to near death. So to go through that is a life-changing type of experience. So I never would blame him for that, for what he did the right thing. He did the right thing. We did the right thing. We in the circumstances that we were in, we did the right thing. And I really hope that a lot of these people realize that they're puppets. Deep dive, right? Deep dive and look inside yourself and say, look, this information that I think I'm getting can be, there are people who are getting real information. I'm not saying they're not, but you need to question that. And you need to wonder, like, am I really getting information? And when you get information, is this legit? Does this make sense right now? Or am I feeding some kind of weird narrative? That's what I just hope these people understand. Now, I also understand that a lot of these people can't because they'll be killed. And a lot of them have been given. And you can see the fear in their eyes. There's one guy, you can see the fear in his eye. And he knows who he is. Where he needs to put out shit over and over again. Grifters, bullshit. That everyone's like, this is really dumb. Why are you putting this out? Because they're going to kill him. Because that's what they tell you. Like, if you don't, and they'll give you a lot of money too. They'll load you up. They'll give you like $500,000 million. They'll give you tons of money. They can give you like 10,000 a month. They can load you up financially. But they'll tell you, this is what you're going to post next week. And if you say, no, I'm not going to post that, they're like, this is what you're going to post next week. Or we're gonna shut you. So they might initially what they do first is they'll do some stuff. They'll frequency hit you, they'll DEW hit you, they'll scare the shit, they'll almost get you in an accident, or they'll get you in an accident. They'll do stuff to you. And that's like, you're gonna post this next week. Or right. And yeah. So we're not finger pointing at people. I mean, if you're a total asshole and you're just grifting on this because you're a celebrity whore, I don't even waste my time with people like that. You can do that. That's free. What? My cat is going crazy. Yeah, that's weird. All of a sudden the cat's going crazy, actually. This one. Oops. I wish I could. She's up there on the chair. There we go. Oh, I can't, like, it's reversed. I can never do that. Like backing there. She's up there. I don't know what the hell she's doing. She does, I don't know. Anyway, she's not that kind of cat. But yeah. There's probably some bad mojo coming in here. I'm reaching the choir. I'm sure you guys kind of ran a lot of that through your own heads. Anyway, but I gotta head to the barn. So as always, is Frank. Frank Chile just had a great conference yesterday in Philadelphia. So he made it home late last night, but it went really well, and they want to do some more work with him. So I told Frank, I tell him all the time. I said, Frank, so you got a big job here, and I'm not saying that for ego. I'm like, you gotta fucking get. I mean, sometimes that just means get to fucking work, right? And I tell him that. I say, you got a big job here. Do your job. And that goes for all of us. It's not about egos, but do your job, right? So anyway, as Frank always says, we will see you upstairs.